So is this war against terror just fighting the symptoms rather than
Exactly.
the disease
You
itself?
saw what had happened in this. There are some people that believe that, look, these guys that are sitting down in the Daloris and all, they're not human beings, they're just animals and all that. They call them anarchists. They're thinking, it's not your own kind of thinking. So let them vacate this place that is so resource rich. Over the centuries, they've been sitting down there on oil and gas and they're not doing anything. And who is to prosecute that? It's your own people that you've not trained. Now today, a lot of these young boys that have run away from Michika, Badagali, Maiduguri and all that, talk to them. They have no clue what their existence is. And whose fault is that? Society had neglected them. And so when you find somebody with a helicopter comes in and says, hey, you're going to do Islam for us, and here's $10,000 US.
They buy into it.
I learned that there was a research that was conducted in one of the advanced countries, I don't want to mention the name, that they can really slaughter their mom for $10,000 US.
Yes, I read that.
Exactly. So these are guys that somewhere in Lomani, in Dikwa and all that, they've been there for 30 years.
So is there a need for a change in strategy beyond moving the military
can't do nothing.
to
The
Borno
military can't do
and all
nothing.
of that?
The military-
What kind of strategies should this government begin to think
They need to
of
understand.
fast
They need to
put
understand
in
that
place?
there are people that have this warped thinking about moving the whole population to annex a place. That's the first thing that they need to have. Thinking that in this world, there are people that can actually believe that human beings are human beings, but could be defined as a lizard versus a crocodile that can chop a lizard. That human beings, they have this thinking that a lion can chop a gazelle, even though they're all, they look the same. They all look like animals. So there are some people that have this perception that they're not human beings. You can just annihilate them.
It's about the strong oppressing the weak or using the weak for their own advantage.
Yeah, that's kind of thinking. We still, as Christians, as Muslims, think that no, there are not people like that. You got to be realistic in knowing that for oil and gas, some people right now in those areas are making close to about 10, something between 2 to 10 million barrels of day per day. Is there not even in the Niger Delta? Who is the Nigeria's oil? The finest oil is not being bought overnight. Why? You could access it anywhere with a ruling. Somebody can station any of these mobile drilling rigs, and it's just like borehole now. I may decide to just drill the borehole here and cause confusion here while you're not drilling. I suck your water outside there.
So, somebody is trying to cause some kind of distraction.
And here we are.
We
have conventional military in their thousands going there to confront a phantom ghost fighter that may be teleguided through some kind of satellite communication and all that kind of thing. You say, hey, the guys are sleeping there. You could attack this village and create a siege kind of mentality and all that kind of thing. But nobody is looking at it along that line because it looks far-fetched. And if it's far-fetched, well, whose fault is that? Americans, British, and all this, they look at all options affecting their country. What if this guy is a psycho? Can he attack the Queen? What if this guy is this thing? Can he attack Barack Obama? Inside America, inside the family, most of the people that killed Gandhi, the guy that killed Gandhi was her bodyguard. So
Absolutely.
Security intelligence means a Manguno not to just traveling around for Kenya, going to celebrate to so. No, a Manguno that is he has lost his home. The Manguno is not. I don't think Nigerians go to Manguno there. They used to have a lot of this. What do you call it? Onion. I used to buy this big sack of onion for 2,000 naira. I also did an onion trade along that line. I used to also, do cow trade. I had a pickup that got all the ways to Kirinoa. And I can tell you, Nigeria forgot them. So, and it's a virgin land, very wealthy land. If you go to Dikwa right now, the rice that is coming out from Dikwa, you may not even buy rice from India or China. So whoever is taking Dikwa in the, I think I'm shedding a little bit of tears,
sorry about
because
that.
it's
Must be the weather too.
Yeah, not the weather. It's the issues are very serious issues.
Yeah.
Lives are
Absolutely.
lost. Over 3 million Nigerians are internally displaced, and nobody's asking questions. 3
And
million.
more than 20,000 have lost their lives.
What is 20,000 miles?
That is just a conservative figure.
The governor of Borno State one time came out and said about 500,000 Nigerians were killed, unreported. You've forgotten the 40 students that were cold-blooded murdered in Mubi. They call their names and they shoot them. Then Mamudo, why? All to create a siege mentality. You understand? So it's a situation that requires a lot of intelligence, and it's not just.
Okay, let's take a short break, and when we return, that should help us a little. We'll take a short break and return with TVC Breakfast. We're talking Boko Haram and its renewed onslaught on the northeast. Stay with us. You're welcome back. I still have my guest in the studio, Mr. Tima. Now, concerning this Dalori killings, when you read about children and the elderly burnt alive, it's really a source or cause for worry. What's your reading of government's response to this latest killings in Dalori and all those other places? Is this government showing enough sensitivity? I mean,
of course, they're showing enough sensitivity. The most important thing that the president has demonstrated concern by moving the military command center to Maiduguri, but it's beyond his capacity. He has already said it, that he needed the cooperation of his neighbors. And those neighbors are not forthcoming with the cooperation. One time, Banikoro was saying that, look, I'm frustrated. When I begin to talk to some of my colleagues, they seem to be, answering to Paris and not to Lagos or to Abuja, as the case may be. And when you talk about children being killed, prosecutors of wars like this, they don't look at them as children. You can see the kind of bombs that are being dropped in the night anyhow by the likes of the Putin in Syria and all that kind of thing. How many children have died? And you have all this, they call it collateral damage.
Collateral damage.
So there are people, the world has to realize that there are warped thinking. The Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Einstein, earlier on when he developed the fundamental for the atomic bomb, he said, had I known, I wouldn't have produced this bomb. Most of the guys that were given bomb to detonate them, at the end of the day, the chemical and physical reaction that they see, oh my God, is it me that did it? They're humans.
Beyond their calculations.
Yeah, there was a police officer I interviewed, just informally. He said, those that are carrying guns, they don't know the capacity of the bullet. That you just see, you just a trigger. And later on when you go and see the damage it has caused, you say, my God, what have I done? Small bullet with a high explosives behind blows out everything and all that kind of. So some of these drug guys procure to go and just clear Dalori, for instance. Hey, suddenly they just enjoy the music and they're just blowing human beings and say, my God, is it what we've done? Most times if you notice when they apprehend them, they start crying because they are humans after all. But you see, the nation, the leadership must be proactive to know that you have people like that in the community.
So yes, indeed, the
That's
nation has to be proactive.
Proactive.
It's one thing saying that, but in a country like ours, where we're highly dependent on the international community for even the guns that we use to prosecute this war and almost every other thing, how do we take advantage of our own peculiar environment.
We don't have
in
friends.
actually, fighting,
We don't
this
have,
war.
Nigeria surprisingly doesn't have strategic partners. Today we are this, tomorrow we are that. And you must, as a nation, as a woman, as a man, be at least married to a family that you said, this is a family that I'm married into. I just received a text message that my in-law, I just lost him now. I just received a text message now. As a permanent secretary.
That's
May his soul rest in perfect peace. I belong to that family. So it's affected me. But Nigerians, you have a Barack Obama inviting Buhari, okay, before you know it, you are with a Putin. So who is going to be
So
there?
we've not really been able to define exactly where we stand.
Yeah.
So that it affects.
It
or
does affect.
It impacts.
Suddenly. Today you are doing business with this. Tomorrow you are doing business with Iran. So what message are you sending? But with our neighbors, they've said hallelujah with the France.
And they stick with them all the
Let's
way.
stick with them. So if you touch any of those French nations there.
They come out roaring.
Yeah, because they said, look, we're NATO members. Chad is a de facto NATO member by virtue of having a military pact with a superpower. We don't have any. So our military, just in the conventional manner, they said, oh, there's Boko Haram there. And somebody with a satellite, I'm not saying they're the French people, somebody who knows that, yes, Nigerians don't have any satellite cover, can take advantage when they're sleeping. In my shipping days, I still am in shipping. I asked the guys, say, you criminals, what do you do? He said, when the naval officers are sleeping, it's mostly midnight, you know, weekends after they're having a party, and we know that that's the time we attack the oil rigs and all
So
that
do
kind
you
of thing.
think the former administration, for example, of Goodluck Jonathan would have actually done a better job if he had had the friendship, for example, of the United States, you know?
They are not ready
Because
to have
they
friendship.
did not.
The African leaders.
They didn't give him arms.
No, let me
to,
tell you.
to prosecute this war.
Let's be frank.
Yes.
A lot of them don't want friendship with the United States of America.
Why is that?
Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. You can't make the kind of billions if you have an American friendship. They said, look, we're going to develop this society. The funds that we're going to give to you is going to go into proper railway services. And most African leaders don't want that. They prefer people that will give them the back door, a gunje, what do you call it. So, and these advanced countries like British, France, UK and all that, they have their standards. And African leaders that don't want those standards don't go to that standard. So when you're in problem, those so-called advanced countries that you're expecting them to have friendship to support you will not be there for you.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for, you have even, giving us a deeper insight as to the reasons why we have this continuous onslaught, not only in the Northeast, but absolutely on our psyche. It's been nice talking with you.